I'm selling my McLaren 720S, and today I'm going to tell you why. But more importantly, I'm going to share an important lesson that will help you in your business. Welcome back to another episode of #Winning. Uriel came here, and I've got news. I'm obviously selling my McLaren 720. So I've had this beautiful Memphis red 720 for the past 3 years, and I've decided to let go of it. I'm going to tell you why in just a moment, but before I do, I want to take a step back and share with you why I purchased it in the first place. So I didn't actually know what a McLaren was, and I took went for a day of 6 supercars, driving through the road, like country roads and stuff. And we drove 6 cars over 6 hours, and we finished, my buddy and I, on the McLaren 570, which is the entry-level car for the McLaren supercar series. And I didn't even know what a McLaren was until I drove that car, and I was absolutely blown away. And I told my buddy Nick when we got out of the car, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna buy this car. Like, that's a given. It was unbelievable. It's like a rocket. So over the next year, I set the intention of purchasing the McLaren 570, which was the car that I drove, and I ended up getting it. I've shot other videos talking about how that all came about. But anyways, a couple months later, we thought to ourselves, well, hold on. Like, there's the 570, there's the 720, and some ridiculous cars like the Senna MP1. But my wife was like, hey, like the 720 is pretty amazing. We'd been on some rallies and we'd seen some other people with the 720, and that thing was like a rocket ship. And Canada was introducing a luxury car tax around that time. So we're like, you know what? I'm not paying that shit. Let's buy before it comes in. So we ended up buying the car around that time. Anyways, so bought 2 McLarens. And here's an important lesson. Don't buy 1 supercar if you can't buy 5. I wasn't spending my last dollars on these cars. So it wasn't like I bought a supercar and then was worrying about paying for gas. Like, I'm not like, don't do that. But the reason I purchased the cars and the thinking behind it was I wasn't looking for an ROI. I'm not the type of guy who buys a supercar or I'm not going to just let it sit in the garage. I put 40,000 kilometers on the 720. That's quite a lot of mileage for a supercar. Daily driver to the grocery store, to Starbucks, to the gym, to my kids' soccer. It doesn't matter. It was like a family car for me. And I purchased the car knowing full well that it probably wouldn't retain its value. If it did, awesome. But if it didn't matter. Because I wasn't looking for an ROI. I was looking for an ROM, which is return on Mojo. Because if you think about how we can spend our money, like if you took a trip, like an unbelievable trip, like first class, luxury, the whole thing, 5-star experience, and let's say you spend $50,000 on that, you have nothing to show for that except for photos, memories, and that kind of emotion that you can pull back into at any point. That's it. There's no monetary, like you can't trade that in for more money. It's done, it's over, and that you have the memories. That's it. So I love travel, and I look at buying a supercar, that's kind of the same thing. Like, yes, it's taking money out of my pocket on a monthly basis, gas, insurance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I purchased the car because I wanted to feel like I love driving. I love driving fast cars. I love opening up on the country roads. I'm not a stupid driver. Like, I'm not driving 300 kilometers an hour on the highway, but I like to drive. And being behind a wheel of a McLaren is unlike anything else. If you're into cars, I'll tell you this, there's no other car that drives like a McLaren. Just take my word on that, or you can drive everything like I have and come to the same realization. So I purchased the 720 because I'm like, hey, if I could have one, why not 2? Because I want it. I don't need it, but I wanted it. And I just wanted to have the experience of just, did some track days, did some rallies, had some amazing moments. And then what ends up happening is that car, the 720, although it's a beautiful car, ends up becoming a bit of a pain in the ass. And one repair after another, extended warranty after extended warranty, and I'm dropping north of $100,000 on repairs and warranties. So when you take that into consideration, plus the fact that it's sitting in storage for half the year, plus the fact that no one else in my family is driving the car other than me. So I'm literally opening up my garage, going to Starbucks, and I'm asking myself, which of my McLarens am I going to drive to Starbucks today? If I need to keep this warm, I just heated over the engine. That was it. Like, initially we got the car for my wife, but she doesn't really drive it. So we're like, whatever. So anyways, the point of this is that now I've been in Mexico for 4 months at our house here. And since we left Toronto to this time, that car has been in the shop the entire time. It was in the shop getting a repair done. They transported it open, like on a flatbed in the middle of winter in Toronto to the storage facility. He gets there. A couple days later, I get a picture from them showing the windshield's cracked. No one's taking responsibility for what happened. So obviously going back and forth and like legal nonsense, I'm like, you know what, screw this. I'm just going to go through insurance and I'll take care of it. So it goes back to McLaren. I'm like, I'm not fucking around. Just replace the windshields. Insurance doesn't cover it. Once it's at McLaren, the dealership, they sent me this video showing all these other things that should probably be fixed. And I'm like, what are we doing here? This is ridiculous at this point. And so what ended up starting to happen was, again, I was looking for a return on Mojo, return on joy. But what ends up happening over the past couple months is I'm not getting a return on joy. I'm getting just frustration. And I thought to myself, why am I going to just keep pouring? I'm going to throw good money after bad here. This is not even good anymore. So I made the decision the other week. I said, you know what? McLaren has the car right now. And I asked my assistants, I'm just like, just get them to give us a price. Because if I had to make all these repairs now, it'd be another $40,000. I'm like, what's the point? And then I have to go sell it privately and like maybe try to get a better, like it's not even worth it. So McLaren comes back with a number, which I thought actually was quite fair, to be honest, considering I had to do all these repairs, plus they have to make their markup. And I'm like, you know what? I think that's okay. So from the purchase price to what I'm selling it at, it's about $130,000 difference. Now on the surface, that looks like not a good deal. But the reality is if I look at this over the course of 3 years, I paid $130,000 in depreciation, plus $100,000 roughly in repairs and insurance and gas, whatever, okay? So I look at that as a $250,000 additional investment to what I paid. So let's call it $500,000, somewhere in the neighborhood. You might say like, dude, you're crazy for a car. And I'm like, yeah, like that sounds crazy to some people. But if you're hanging around different circles, it's just, it's no big deal. I'm sharing this because we build these businesses and we make money not for the sake of making money. Like money is not the end game. Like money is simply a tool to be able to do things with. So as I started, going from 20 years ago, dead broke personal trainer, living on poverty line income, third floor apartments, 800 square feet, no air conditioning, green walls, nonsense like that, to being committed to a very big vision, it was never about the stuff. It was always about how I could grow in the process of building something, what I think is incredible, our business, and the people it's helping and the changes making in the world. And if I can enjoy these little trophies along the way, I'm going to. And so should you, if that's something you're interested in. So if you want to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor, like don't listen to the people closest to you who don't know anything about your ambition. So when I purchased the second McLaren, my mom was like, why do you need 2 McLarens? And I told her, I'm like, Mom, because I want them. Okay. Am I going to take advice from my mom who has never in her life made anywhere close to the amount of money I make, drives a Toyota Corolla and lives a very fearful life? Like, am I going to take advice from someone like that? No. Like, I love my mom, but I'm not going to take any advice from her along these lines. Right. And I know that may sound harsh to some people, but I see so many people have these dreams and aspirations, and the people closest to them just keep pulling them back down like crabs in a bucket. Oh, honey, you don't need that. That's not us. That's for people like them. No, if you want something, you don't need to explain it. You want it because you want it. If you live in the world of wants, it's a way better place to live than the world of needs. We don't need a McLaren. We don't need a second McLaren, but we want what we want. And you might want something different. Maybe you want a really cool juicer. Maybe you want organic food. Maybe you want to have a cleaning person. Maybe you want to have a personal chef. It doesn't matter what you want. You should not have to explain yourself to anyone. You don't have to put it on a piece of paper, the pros and cons. Is this going to make mathematical sense? Fucking set that on fire. You listen to your gut. I want this, period. Then you ask yourself, how can I achieve this? Because I'll tell you this, if you're in a rut, you need a bigger vision. If you're not where you want to be, you need a bigger vision. And one of the best ways to do that, or to really stimulate action that you're not currently doing, is to put yourself in a vacuum financially. If you commit yourself, like when we purchased this house in Mexico, it's all cash. There's no mortgage. That was a major investment. I'm like, go. Now I'm in this financial vacuum, and I'm telling you this, like, it's the best thing that we've done for the business, because I've had to do things in the business that maybe I would not have had the fire under my ass to do because I've had to, right? And again, like, we're not dealing cocaine here. So we're only like helping health professionals do better in their businesses. So if I have this thing I want, or if you have this thing that you want, to use that as fuel to take, like, crazy action in a way that you're not currently doing because you have nothing exciting to live for. Maybe I shouldn't say live for, but like strive towards. It doesn't always have to be impact. Like, I talk to so many health practitioners all the time. It's like, hey, what do you want? I want to impact more people. No, you don't. Like, yeah, we want to help people, but like at the end of the day, you want to make money. You have selfish desires for doing so. You want to have more time. You want to do what you want to do, right? Just be honest with yourself. So the reason I'm selling the car is because, number one, it's no longer a joy in my life. Marie Kondo, in her book, I can't remember the name of the book, but in the book, and she's all about kind of organization and kind of like closets and home and thinking and stuff. She's like, you look in your closet and you look at your clothing and you just go item by item and you ask yourself, does this bring me joy? Yes or no? If it's a no, you get rid of the clothing. It's such a beautiful way to get rid of shit in your life. So if I'm looking at this car now, I'm like, does it bring me joy? Yeah, but is it bringing me more frustration now? Probably. And also it's costing me money left to, like, fist over fist, hand over fist. Like, it doesn't even make sense anymore. So for that reason, I'm like, cool, like this, let's just get rid of it. Okay. I still have the 570. With a gun to my head, I'm like, which one would you choose? I would still choose the 570. That thing drives like a go-kart for adults. It's an unbelievable car. So my lesson to you here is this. You don't need to buy a supercar, but if you want to, McLarens are amazing. And also, I'm just going to put a little disclaimer in here. The McLarens have a little bit of a bad rap for being pretty finicky. I have a couple friends who have 720s, and they've had no problems, right? One of them's had problems. Another one's driven 70,000 kilometers. The only thing they had to do was change the windshield. That was it. No other issues. So, like, I think with anything, like, you're going to get, it's just luck of the draw. Sometimes you have a car that has no issues. Other times you have one that's a bit more of a lemon. But it doesn't mean the whole brand in and of itself is terrible. It's very much like what you probably experienced and what we experienced is someone comes in to talk with you and they're like, I've had bad experiences before, therefore I'm skeptical about working with you. Like, that'd be like if I went back to McLaren and said, hey, I want to buy another McLaren, but I'm super skeptical because the last one I had all these problems. And that's a fair concern, right? But you're never going to be able to move forward in life if you keep holding on to things that happened for you, not to you, in the past. Get over it. Like, one car that had issues doesn't mean that the next car is going to have issues. If you had a boyfriend that cheated on you, doesn't mean that the next boyfriend is going to cheat on you. If you invested in a coach and they were shit, it doesn't mean the next coach you're going to work with is shit. The key is that you're always learning so that the next experience is always better. And so if you have money to play with, and if you want to be able to invest in things that don't have a foreseeable ROI, then that's okay. You don't need to explain it to anyone. You don't need to justify it to anyone. As long as you're in a position where you can spend the money without it really hurting you, then by all means, go for it. And again, if you want a McLaren, I would strongly recommend at least trying one and driving it to see what I'm talking about, because once you're behind the wheel, it's going to be hard to go back. And I'll just finish with this, is I'm a big believer in raising the quality of your experiences in life. Yes, we could all live with the bare minimum. Yeah, we could live in a tent in the middle of the desert and we could have no headaches. We could have no overhead. We could have no problems. But why? What's the point of that? I think, yes, when you own more things, or if you have a bigger business with more people and more clients, you have more problems. But that's okay, because you get to grow through those. Because you could say, well, I don't want to deal with all that stuff. So what's the alternative? You run a one-man show. You make little to no money, and every single day is just Groundhog's Day. And you're like, you can't live life. You can't enjoy the things you may say you want to enjoy. And it's like paycheck to paycheck. So please understand that everything has a price, right? It just may not be the price tag, right? And you get to a point where, because you've paid such a price, again, not the price tag, you're able to make so much more money so that when you do want to buy something and it has a price tag, you're able to do so like that, because it's no big deal. But anyways, hopefully this video makes sense. I just wanted to be honest about what's going on with, just in case you're ever wondering what's going on with the stuff for me personally, the cars. I don't think that you think about this stuff in it, but I just wanted to share this because it's happening and there might be an interesting lesson in there for you as well. So if it struck a chord, let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, remember to subscribe to the channel. I've got hundreds of other videos to help you grow a thriving online health business, and I'll see you in the next one. If you're watching this, you're a health professional growing your business online. The reality is that you're most likely going through the teenage years. You have a business that is relatively, let's say, early stage, right? So you're not doing $1 million a month plus. And because of that, you would typically be considered a small or a very small business, right? Most of us are.